Hey guys, Wallen Customs here, and today we're taking a look at the Transformers Generations, and this is Titan's Return, Voyager class, Galvatron, and Nucleon. I hope I'm saying that right. Looks pretty cool. Take a look at the back. Not bad. Has 3 different forms, 27 steps. That's how it is. Alright, let's open them up. Alright guys, so here is Galvatron out of the box. Now, I love this figure right off the bat. I think this is a great representation of Galvatron. I'm not a big collector of Transformers per se, so I don't like collecting the leader class ones. I like to keep my collection around the Voyager class and Deluxe class sizes, and this is definitely a great size in my opinion. Even I'll do size comparisons later, but he definitely has a pretty good size overall. I definitely love the alt mode for his cannon mode. I don't care for the jet mode at all. I will talk about that later, how to get rid of this thing in the back, this ugly kibble. But other than that, let's take a look at the figure first, and then we'll transform him. Alright, so here is Galvatron up close and personal. He looks pretty good. The head sculpt is a little bit odd, of course, because these are the Titan's Return figures, where they have a separate head that clips in. But not bad. Well, we'll talk more of that later. But going down to the rest of the body, he does have his traditional little 4 things right there, which are pretty nice looking. And overall, it just is a pretty good, decent looking figure. He's a little bit bulkier compared to what people are used to, I believe. But I still like everything on it. I love the legs over here. They look pretty nice as well. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit better. But overall, just a nice, robust looking figure. The cannon on the side right here is very nice looking, very long as well. Going to the back over here, he does have the ugly kibble of the jet mode right here, which I hate so much. We will talk about that later as well. But overall, like I said before, I just think he looks really good for a nice, decent Voyager class Galvatron figure. And in case you guys are wondering if the color seems a little bit off to you, it's because the settings in my camera that I have it on more enhanced settings. It does make some certain colors pop a little bit different, but I will show you guys how he looks like right now in reality. Alright, so this is how he actually does look like, a little bit more purplish. So like I said before, my camera just has different settings that I set it to, and sometimes some certain colors have different colors and they pop a little bit different. Alright, so let's talk about the cons first before we get to the juicy stuff. First things first is the head right here. Obviously, this is part of the Titan's Return line, you know, a little bit gimmicky. Everyone has a separate head and stuff like that. So for this one, he has Nucleon, which pops off like that. But the problem is, the crown part, the front faceplate of Galvatron stays there, which is kind of a bummer. You know, this is part of your the transformation. You actually fold this in like that, just like that. But when you put on the head sculpt, you know, it's pretty decent right there. You know, it looks almost like Megatron. That's the funny part. But it does have rotation. It goes left and right, no problems there. It goes up and down just a little bit. But the second you put on the faceplate, it's very limited now because this part does not rotate. So he can't really turn his head. If he turns his head like that, he can't look left and right. So it's kind of disappointing, I have to admit. What I would like to do later is I'm actually going to Dremel this whole piece off right here, and I'll just glue it on to the head. So that way he can move his head left and right. And obviously when you transform him, you just take the whole thing off. Like that. Obviously it might take away from the transformation of Nucleon, but I don't really care about him. Now the second con for me about this figure is this whole back kibble right here. It is ugly. I hate this whole part right here. It is part of the jet mode for him in his third alternative mode, vehicle mode, if you want to call it that. I just hate it so much. What I would like to do is take it off. There is a little bit of a peg right there that I'm going to take out, slide the whole thing off, and you don't even need it. You take it off, he only has 2 alt modes then, which is his robot mode and his cannon mode, which he should have since the beginning. But it's just huge. It's very unnecessary. I feel like look how big it is. Even when you do the cannon mode and it sits in the bottom, it really doesn't need to be there too. It's just something of an eyesore in my opinion, and you could definitely get rid of it. Alright, so quickly into articulation. He does have limited articulation in the head like I showed before. The shoulders are nice. You could bring up the shoulder pads a little bit if you want to, but they go up and down, no problems there. In and out, no problems there. Ratchet jointed. Bicep swivel. 2 points at the elbow, which is nice. At the wrist, there's nothing really. It does fold in. If you want to give that some kind of articulation, that's fine with me. No ab crunch, but he does have a waist swivel right there. A little bit limited because the back over here, which you could get rid of all of this and you won't have a problem though. But going back over here, he does have hinge joints at the hips, but are T-jointed, so they go forward. Pretty decent, not bad at all. Go back a little bit, go back all the way actually, which is pretty good. He has a thigh swivel right there. He has one point at the knee, but it's pretty good right there. And at the ankle, he does have a little bit of a hinge and a pivot. So that's pretty decent. So pretty standard articulation for a Transformer overall. As you can see, he's a pretty bulky figure, so he might have a lot of things in the way sometimes. He might feel a little bit bulky when you're moving him around, especially with all this, with the big gun right here and big legs. But you get used to it because he is a really robust figure, but he is very intimidating and awesome. Alright, so quick size comparison side by side with MP Rodimus Prime right here. They're about the same size, give or take. Rodimus might have a little bit of a size advantage on him actually, but it's pretty comparable. And surprisingly, like I said before, this is a MP Rodimus Prime, and this is just a, you know, Generations $25 figure. And, you know, you could pretty much square them side by side with each other and it won't be that bad, honestly. Not bad at all. I wouldn't mind having these two side by side on my collection. Of course, you could buy a third-party Galvatron, which would be a lot of money, or you have a nice $25 one, and definitely is pretty good side by side right there. Alright guys, so edit time. I actually was just doing my video and editing it, and I'm realizing that I remember doing a video for another review where Galvatron was actually taller than Rodimus Prime right here, but now I have them and they either are about the same height, or, you know, Rodimus is just like a tad taller. But I was like, I'm sure I was 100% that Galvatron was actually bigger than Rodimus, or at least taller. And I'm looking at the figure, and it actually will probably help you in the transformation itself as a nice tip. But when you bring him back to robot mode, you have to make sure that this little part right here, the knee joint, goes all the way in, which I did not do in the video. So you have to clip it in like that on both sides. And this honestly gives him like a full, almost like a centimeter more of height. And then when you put them back up, now when you stand them up, they look a lot better in my opinion, because Galvatron now is a little bit taller than Rodimus. Maybe like about a centimeter, a little bit more. But you can see that now, definitely. Alright, next right now we do have Hot Rod right there from the Generations line. And right here we do have the Make Toys Striker Madness, whatever you want to call it, Optimus Prime right there. Obviously Optimus Prime is a little bit taller than this Galvatron figure, which is, you know, it is what it is. But to be honest, I was never really sure how tall or big Galvatron was in the cartoon, because I feel like he was a little bit shorter when he became Galvatron compared to when he was Megatron. I could be wrong though, because I remember when Rodimus finally became Rodimus, he looked a little bit bigger than Galvatron, oddly, but whatever. He definitely is pretty robust, and even if he is a little bit smaller, I don't mind that. It's fine with me. And for a last size comparison, here he is with the Toy World version of Optimus Prime, and of course we have the Generations Ultra Magnus right there. Alright, now that we have all that out of the way, let's finally get into the transformation. I'm just doing the cannon mode because I don't care at all about the jet mode. And if you're lucky, I might show you something interesting at the end. But for now, let's take off the cannon right here. I know I never do this by the book. I just do whatever is easy, or, you know, easy steps to do. So first off, what I like to do is fold that down first. Then you pop off the head. And to be honest, I don't like this little joint right here that you connect right there. It feels like it's gonna pop off. You know, it doesn't feel that secure, to be honest, because it's on its own ball joint as well, and you feel like when you're pulling it off and on, it feels a little bit aggressive, but whatever. Next up, what I like to do first is actually start the legs first, but in the back here you want to fold this part down like so, and then that's when you rotate it. That's the waist joint right there, but you can't do it because this is actually folded up. But if you take this off, you might be able to, but we'll have that there for now. Next up, like I said, you want to do the legs first, so you fold these back, bring up the feet, fold these back, bring up the feet right there. And for now, what we're going to do, we're just going to angle it inward, and then we'll set it up later. But what you want to do is, basically right there, you kind of want to get that little joint to fold in to right there, like that. Right there. I'm not really sure if it's supposed to be on the outside or inside. No, it's supposed to be outside. Like that. And if you actually look closely as well, in his crotch area, there are tabs right there. So if you get those tabs inside there, it actually stays in a little bit better. So just be aware of that. Let's do the same thing for this side. Fold that in, and you just want to fold it in just like that. So you want to kind of squeeze in the crotch area first, and then when you have all that done, said and done, that's when you kind of fold everything together. But when we get to that point, we'll get to that point. Alright, next we want to do is do the arms. So you want to fold in the arms right here, or fold in the hands, that is. And you want to take this tab and you want to fold the arms up to that little tab hole, which is pretty easy. Just angle it in there like that on both sides. Alright, next up, what you want to do is you want to bring this up just to get some clearance. And then you want to actually, these little side plates on the side of his body, you want to kind of angle them down like that. And then you want to straighten up the arms, rotate them forward, and you want to bring the tracks down like that. So on this side, what you want to do, same thing, bring it down, straighten up the arms, and bring up the tracks so it's like that. And you're getting there now. You're definitely getting there. Definitely want to straighten up the legs a little bit. They kind of clip in. Not the best clip in, but they do stay once you kind of get it in there. Like that. Alright. So next up now, you take the cannon right here, fold this up, fold that in, a little peg right there goes into the peg hole over there. And there you go. Slide these forward. Adjust him as you must, especially the legs in the back. And there you go. And you can bring, you could definitely rotate the legs, or the arms that is, right here. You rotate it forward, rotate it back, stuff like that. So it's a pretty decent looking cannon mode. I love how it looks. Definitely really nice. This is something that I've been waiting for a long time, for the Voyager class especially. And this overall, it's a great looking figure. Like I said before, I could definitely do about this stupid kibble right here. Even the fin back there too doesn't really have to be there. But like I said, if I'm done with this video in a certain way, I'll show you guys how it looks like in the end. Alright, now due to the magic of video editing, I was able to modify my Galvatron right now. I no longer have the back kibble back here. I no longer have this fin over here. And I was able to, as you can see, connect the head a little bit better of his crown right there. So now he can look all the way around, looks a lot better. I will have a video of how I did this. It's fairly simple, and if you want to see how I did that, stay tuned, subscribe, and watch out for that video. But other than that, guys, I love this figure now even more of all this stuff out of the way. He looks like the menacing Galvatron that you would love to have in your Voyager class collection, and it looks pretty good with the rest of the figures. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope this was a fun video. I don't normally do Transformers that much, but I am starting to collect them a little bit more now, slowly, but they're coming along. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to wildlandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace!
That's crispy.